Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07 now. It's O'Connor and Company. If you missed any of our first 3 hours, please subscribe to the podcast and download. You'll enjoy the experience, I assure you. Coming up in 30 minutes, very excited to talk to the artistic director at the Kennedy Center, Tamas Detrich, about the return of the Stuttgart Ballet and the triumphal opening last night. We'll get to that. It's Larry O'Connor with Bethany Mandel. Good morning, Bethany.
Good morning. Man, this morning has flown by. Time flies when you're having fun.
And we are having fun. And I want to remind everyone, Bethany has been intimately involved with the families of the hostages since October 8th, really the day after the attacks. Been working with them, helping them navigate political and media byways and highways. And I know you were up all night pretty much talking with many of them. Yeah. Yes. About the astonishing announcement yesterday that they will be released by Monday, according to President Trump. Let's bring in Ron Halber. He's the CEO of the Jewish Community Relations Council right here in D.C. And Ron, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop here. I mean, it looks pretty damn good. I guess the big wild card here is we are dealing with Hamas, and they can't be trusted until they actually do what they claim they're going to do. But other than that, what's your take on this agreement?
Well, I think you summed it up very well. I think, that's why everybody is using the phrase cautious optimism. And even though there's been an explosion of excitement, and including myself, I'm very grateful to President Trump and his administration for working out this deal, which might be the first stage, hopefully at the beginning of the ending of this horrific war. But already we're already seeing last-minute maneuvering. The Israeli cabinet said today that the war is not over until the ceasefire is not over. This doesn't begin until we declare it. So who knows? That may say that they're still ready to use military force in the next few hours. Who knows? The Hamas is insisting that the retreat they're using the word retreat, that Israel withdraw its forces before the hostage exchange. So it wouldn't surprise me if the negotiators are constantly refining the deal until the last moment. But I do think in the end it's going to go through in terms of the release of the Palestinian prisoners for Israeli hostages.
So how has the JCRC been involved over the course of, the last week? Because we also had the anniversary of October 7th. How have you guys been involved in, making sure that everything that's happening in the nation's capital is on point and on message?
Well, I would expand that, Bethany, and say how we involved in the last 2 years. I mean,
well, that I know.
We've been doing a constant barrage, media focus. We had protests outside the Qatari embassy because we always knew that they were key. We have been. I mean, it's been the JCRC has been mobilizing, its constituents throughout the region and also throughout the country. It's been a nonstop. It's been at the top of our agenda since day one. There is nothing, bringing home a captive or redeeming captives is a very, very high Jewish principle, and it's mobilized not just our Jewish community, but the Jewish community around the world.
So go ahead, Larry.
No, it's all right, Bethany.
So we have another holiday coming up, starting on Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Simchat Torah, which is, the anniversary on the Hebrew calendar of the attacks of October 7th. What are you doing as a local organization to ensure security here for Jews in the nation's capital?
Well, I think because you have to remember most American Jews, most of the world is celebrating it remembers October 7th on the American day. The Israelis are using the Hebrew calendar, so for them it's Simchat Torah. So I don't think necessarily that day may be more of security concern because it's really the October 8th. But I can tell you that since the war has started, security at Jewish institution has been dramatically upgraded. We have secured millions of dollars. As a matter of fact, in the last 4 years alone, we've established four new grant programs, including two on the local level. And what actually makes them different than the federal grant program, which started 20 years ago, which we were actually very involved in starting. That's too long for this radio segment. that that each of these plans allows for operating money. And the biggest concern has always been for safety, is that a lot of the federal program provides money for capital improvements and purchases like bollards to prevent car bombs or window film. We have been focusing a lot of the security programs that we've been providing on the hiring of off-duty officers and armed personnel, and because we know that nothing deters somebody from wanting to go and cause harm than seeing armed security. We knew that from when the Los Angeles JCC was attacked, and back in 1999. And initially, they had gone to a synagogue with their armed personnel, and they chose the JCC because there was no police present.
We're speaking with Ron Halber. He's the CEO of Jewish Community Relations Council here in D.C. One thing that's frustrating to watch the last couple of years and even beyond, but certainly since October 7th, in terms of the media coverage of Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli government in general, is that their efforts in trying to defeat their enemy and to save their hostages is always shot through the prism of American politics and public relations. Everybody seems to always say, oh, they're really bad at PR. They're really not winning over the hearts and minds. They're really losing people on this issue because they, and I always think that that's like, I don't think PR is necessarily their number one priority right now. It's survival and defeating the murderers who were trying to slaughter their people. But that said, it is important to be able to sort of shore up the world support for your efforts. So I guess I'm asking you to sort of reflect on that and tell us, will this help? Will the PR effort improve now that they're not in an existential fight, or is it just a new phase of that same fight?
We really need an hour segment to talk about that one also. If you're in the American Jewish community, and the word hasbara, which some people really they use, which is a Hebrew word, some people think means propaganda. It really means public relations. I've been in this field for 40 years. There's never been a time when in any conflict that Israel's ever been involved in that people haven't said, "Oh, Israel is so bad at public relations." I mean, to me, it's almost become like a laughable line. Now, it's true because it hit a crescendo during this crisis. I mean, Israel's PR and also, to a certain extent, diplomatic isolation is unprecedented. Diplomatic isolation will end because most of these countries don't want to be involved. They had to do performative things like accepting a Palestinian state, which has no chance of coming into being right now. But in terms of PR, I mean, it can only help. I think Israel will recoup. I don't know if they're going to fully recover. I mean, you've got a generation of people who have seen the word genocide repeatedly. Over the weekend, there was an interview on CNN, and I watched Dan Senor, who's a very respected, moderate analyst, give a very thoughtful analysis of what was going on. They had a lawyer from the Palestinian side, and she used the word genocide. And then I started counting. I think she used the word genocide 8 or 9 times in a 2-minute segment. And that's the idea. What they're trying to do is to brand Israel as a horrible, disgusted thing that can't. Even the head of Iran the other day said Israel's the most hated country in the world. And
Iran said that.
Iran, which and something, they may be right. Right. I mean, Israel may be the most hated country in the world. I mean, I don't think they're the country that people fear is going to do as much damage as in Iran or North Korea or Russia or anything like this. But the biggest danger to Israel is the erosion of bipartisan support in America. And the one thing that I hate in this conflict more than anything is the craziness of American Jews who are fighting which party is better for Israel. Okay, forget it. Our job is to ensure, and the job of the American people and all pro-Israel activists is to make sure that there is strong support for Israel from Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, because it's from that support which economic, military, and diplomatic assistance flows. Yeah. And there's also this says also. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm actually up against it here, Ron. I'm sorry about that, but it is frustrating to watch, and I recognize that.
Oh, it's horrible to watch.
When you're facing an existential threat, as Israel has really since its origin, PR should take the back seat. The important thing is to stay alive and not worry about.
I agree. About good PR. Of course, you're 100%. Survival has to trump has to trump PR. But at the same time, you're also, if you need to look, Israel is in a quandary. They're a good guy in a bad neighborhood. They're trying to operate some kind of a democracy in a sea of totalitarian regimes where life is cheap. I mean, when Israel negotiates with Hamas, this is not like the United States, negotiating with Canada for salmon rights off the coast of Nova Scotia. We send a couple lawyers. They send a couple lawyers. We work it out. It's not like an economic trade agreement between France and England. I mean, these are people who this is a region where life doesn't mean much. The Iranians and the Iraqis killed, over 1.1 million people with chemical warfare, and the Syrians killed over 500,000 of their own people in the war. 500,000 Nigerian Christians were coming. They don't care. Life is devalued. So if this is the way they're willing to treat each other in the Muslim countries, imagine what they would do to Israel if they couldn't defend themselves. So yes, survival has to trump PR. But PR can't be ignored today in a world of social media either.
And in the world of American politics. Ron Halber, thanks for joining us, Jewish Community Relations Council.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's $5K a day on WMAL.
Bethany, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on politics and media and narrative and all that stuff over the last decade and a half of doing this. But there's two things in recent years that will always confuse me and shock me. The first was that that Democrats and the media blamed Donald Trump for unemployment and a poor economy after the pandemic hit. Rather than saying, well, what are you going to do with the virus and COVID? And they actually tried to blame him for the virus that came from China. The second one is the fact that so quickly American college campuses and cities in this country became demonstration platforms for the murderers of October 7th. Like within a week, people who perpetrated the massacre on October 7th became the victims all of the sudden. That they were like, this is why they need their own state from the river to the sea, because of, I'm still confused by it.
Do you want to hear an interesting factoid, Larry? The Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine reactivated their Instagram account just minutes before October 7th, the assault began. Isn't that a nice little factoid for you?
It's almost like they had advanced knowledge of it, and maybe even were in on it.
What a coinky-dink.
It is. I mean, that's the thing. It's the reason why I'm having trouble understanding it is because it is coordinated evil.
Yep.
That's why. And I'm glad I don't understand it. I don't ever want to understand that kind of evil. But when you step back and realize that this was a coordinated evil attack, and part of the attack was what happened on our college campuses and in our major cities, then you realize it all makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think we do need to, take our heads out of the sand as much as we don't want to, because these folks are, the folks who are at Columbia right now, they're going to be at the State Department in 10 or 15 years, if not less.
Oh. And they're going to be in the governor's or the mayor's mansion of New York City within a month.
That is correct. It is terrifying, and it's a real domestic threat. And I think people think that this is an international conflict, America first, yada yada. I am sorry to say, they come for the Saturday people first, and then they come for the Sunday people, and we've already seen attacks on the Sunday people, so it's not even theoretical.
All right, let's go. Swing over to the shutdown and the latest there. Yesterday we saw a lot of theatrics over the shutdown where Hakeem Jeffrey, at first it started, I think, with people confronting Speaker Johnson, Mark Kelly, as well as Senator Gallego from Arizona, and they told the media, hey, follow me, I'm going to go confront Speaker Johnson. And then that whole thing, they were trying to get a viral moment. Which, by the way, it makes no sense because it's in the hands of the Senate right now. Yeah. This is a Senate story. It has nothing to do with Speaker Johnson. And then Mike Lawler decided to go over Representative Mike Lawler of New York got with Hakeem Jeffries. Take a listen to this, cut 26. Jeffries is not good at this. Listen.
It's a clean extension for 1 year.
You voted for the one big ugly bill, correct?
I voted for a tax cut bill that gave the largest tax cut to Americans in history, including, by the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're embarrassing
yourself right now. Do you want
to
cut the standard deduction in half?
The largest cut to Medicaid in American history.
Out
you
waste,
voted for that.
fraud, and abuse, by the way.
Voted
Tom DiNapoli, the Democratic controller of New York,
let me ask you a question.
Pointed out that $1.2 billion were wasted.
Listen, you're not going to talk to me.
The gaslighting is so frustrating on this. And look at you. Oh, it's the big, beautiful bill. That was months ago. You lost the vote because you lost the election. Deal with it. But that's why they're having a temper tantrum, and that's why they've shut down your government. But just understand something. When they keep saying it's the biggest cut to Medicaid, Medicaid, under the pandemic, during the Biden administration, they removed a lot of the restrictions on getting access to Medicaid because of the extraordinary nature of the pandemic. Because so many people were out of work, they took a bunch of the conditions off of getting Medicaid. Now, 5 years later, yes, Republicans have said the pandemic's over. There's no reason to keep all of these subsidies and keep all of these open allowances for people to get government-funded health care, and Democrats are screaming about it, claiming that you're taking people off of Medicaid. No, we're just trying to get back to the day before the pandemic hit. That's all.
Yeah.
It's all lies, and it drives me insane that they continue to repeat them. Absolutely.
I mean, the theatrics are relying on the hope that Americans don't realize that they are all lies. And so I think that from my perspective, I think I'm sort of a normie when I'm not, the day before I'm about to come on the radio. I have not seen a ton of coverage of this shutdown in comparison to other shutdowns they can peg it on Republicans.
That's right.
I find myself kind of going to more wonkish sites like The Hill or Axios to get updates.
I think you're right. I think I agree with you, and I think it's because they can't stretch the truth so far to rise to the level of any credulity. They know, the media who would normally cover this and blame Republicans know that this is a Democrat shutdown. And when they even know it, then instead of reporting the truth, they just ignore it. It's 8:24. All right, you've heard us talking about it all week. After over 3 decades, the Stuttgart Ballet has returned to the Kennedy Center. In a moment, we're going to talk to the artistic director, Tamas Detrich. We're going to be more cultured than a Greek yogurt left out in the sun for a week. Keep it here.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
We are thrilled that there's been a new approach to the performing arts at the Kennedy Center and opening up that incredible institution and the great work that they do and book in from all around the world to a whole new audience that for many years has sort of gotten the message that they're not welcome at the Kennedy Center. Well, we're welcome again, and it's been something to behold. And this week, people in the Washington area or any tourists traveling from around the world here to the nation's capital, they have the opportunity to see the Stuttgart Ballet. Stuttgart Ballet's origins go back to the 17th century, the court of Württemberg. Thank you very much, Bethany Mandel. That's right. There's an umlaut over that U.
You're the worst. The literal, actual worst. I'm just going to leave the show right now.
They are performing their legendary interpretation of the Russian verse novel Eugene Onegin, and that's the end of my understanding of what we're about to discuss. Let's bring in the artistic director of the Stuttgart Ballet, Tamas Detrich. Welcome to Washington, D.C. and to the United States of America. And please tell us, pretend like you're talking to people who have never been to the ballet before. What should they expect from the Stuttgart this week?
Oh, my God. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a really privilege to be here in Washington, to be back. I danced on the stage 33 years ago as Onegin.
Oh, really?
And
wow.
Really, yeah. I'm an American, born in New York, and my life is in Europe with my wonderful wife who's Austrian and twins. And, yeah, that's how life is. But it's fascinating, and it's just wonderful to be back here. Such an honor. Talking about ballet, what one can expect. Well, I can tell you, you don't need to read Pushkin. You don't need to know the story of Onegin. You just have to buy a ticket, sit in the audience, and let this ballet reach into your heart and your soul. And that's what this ballet does. And, you know, ballet, I always say, it's an international language that everyone understands. It's dance, and it's beautiful.
And the score is by Tchaikovsky, is it not? So that, I mean, right there, you know that you're going to get a full sensory experience with some of the greatest classical music.
Yes. What's amazing, what Kranko did is, together with Kurt-Heinz Stolz, who arranged all the music of this ballet, every note in this ballet is Tchaikovsky, but not one note is from the opera Onegin. So you'll discover a vast new side of Tchaikovsky put together by Kurt-Heinz Stolz, and so the heart-wrenching pas de deux at the end between Onegin and Tatiana, the music, it just drives into your heart.
So how can folks, I like to pregame my arts experiences because I want to go in and really know what I'm watching and go in with eyes wide open. How do you recommend folks pregame what they're about to watch? Is there anything that they can watch on YouTube or anything they can read about to sort of learn more about what they're about to experience?
Well, sure. You can always go onto YouTube and Instagram. You can see a lot of short clips and trailers on Onegin, but not just from the Stuttgart Ballet. World-leading companies dance Onegin these days, from Europe to Asia and America. American Ballet Theater has it in the repertoire. I probably will be going there in May to work with the company for their revival. And I think just to get a glimpse, first of all, the sets and scenery from Jürgen Rosa are just spectacular. It's a classical ballet. It's on point. It's a full quarter ballet. You have the protagonists, Onegin, Tatiana, her sister Olga, and Lenski, who's a poet. So it has to do also with poetry, with love, and yeah, I think it's very, very alive and very actual today, the story, as it was then when Pushkin wrote it.
And for all the dudes who immediately say, "Oh, that's a girl thing," no, there's a love triangle. There's, by the way,
it's not.
there's not. Isn't there a duel involved in this too?
There is a duel, and yes, someone does get shot. I won't tell you whom, but yes,
so there you go.
You have to
for our gun enthusiast in the audience.
The that's right. Yeah. Well, there's a duel. There's tragedy, and there's love, and there's betrayal in the sense. So, yeah,
and a lot of beauty. A lot of beauty too.
Yeah.
Can I? We're speaking with
a lot of beauty.
We're speaking with Tamas Detrich, he's the artistic director of the Stuttgart Ballet. And if you could just sort of reflect, I didn't know that you were born in America, so that actually adds to your perspective on this, about the reputation of the Kennedy Center worldwide, why this venue is so important, and why those of us who live here in Washington, who maybe have not been enough to the Kennedy Center and participated in the incredible artistic endeavors that are presented there, why we should, why it's important, why we're lucky to have the Kennedy Center right here.
I think it's the most brilliant venue in America, together with the Metropolitan Opera, and it's where the Stuttgart Ballet miracle was born in New York City, 1969, opening night, Onegin. And now 33 years later, standing on that stage or backstage and seeing the unbelievable response, I would say sensational, and never quite experienced like last night, the spontaneity of an audience that probably, I would imagine, the vast amount of the audience last night didn't know the ballet Onegin, and how they just got up on their feet, standing ovation, bravoing the Stuttgart Ballet 33 years later. Well, that speaks for the ballet, first of all. It speaks for my company, if I humbly may say so. The level and artistry of what we're trying to give audiences everywhere. And, you know, being an American, coming back here, the sun is shining this morning, and I'm a very happy director. Yeah.
Well, I know you had a late night with the red carpet black tie event, and I know what it's like in the performing arts to burn the midnight oil. So I appreciate you waking up for us this morning, Mr. Detrich, and
of course,
and have a great time for this booking. And we look forward to a renewed relationship between your fine company and the Kennedy Center for the years to come.
Well, I hope to meet you in person in one of the performances this week. Please.
I hope to make that happen as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
You bet. And everyone, this is your chance to see history made with the Stuttgart Ballet at the Kennedy Center returning after over 3 decades. Grab your tickets. It's only here through the 12th, excuse me. I was just looking at the next booking. It's only here through the 12th this Sunday. It's now 8:44. That's a wrap, Bethany Mandel. Thank you again for a very busy morning here. Coming up next, it's Christopher Plant. Chris?
An interesting situation going on in the United States and the world.
Oh, yeah.
Now the Democrats have to come out against peace in the Middle East.
Huh. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's true. I mean, because Trump.
That's right. Trump. If Trump is bringing peace to the Middle East, then the Democrats might go over there and join the jihad. You know,
well,
a lot of them have.
I mean, they've been practicing for decades now, so I guess they're ready.
That's a fact. Yeah, the Red-Green Alliance is alive and well in the Democrat Party, the commies and the Islamists. And honestly, how do the Democrats? They're pro-crime, they're anti-law enforcement.